Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now. Now, for the last few days or so, I've been making videos trying to show you why you should not jump into other people's businesses. What I mean is, if you see a man and a woman in an argument in the street, or if they're fighting, even if he put his hands on her, you should not get involved. I believe you should call the authorities. Now, I done showed you two men who have lost their lives, or one man who got shot and got put in the hospital because he chose to be Superman. Now, this time, I'm going to show you what happens when a woman do it, when a woman tries to get involved and her life gets taken as well. Give me 1 second as I pull up the screen, ladies and gentlemen. In this clip, this entire clip is used out of fair use with educational purposes. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen.
A family is grieving right now after their daughter was shot and killed outside of Detroit, Coney Island over the weekend.
They say it all started with a dispute with other customers at the restaurant. Jacqueline Francis sat down with the family and has their message tonight. Jacqueline.
They don't know exactly what that argument was about, but they do know that it took the life of a 27-year-old mother who had so much to live for.
The victim was identified as 27-year-old Donnay Wilbert, who was taken to a local hospital, where she was sadly pronounced dead after succumbing to a gunshot wound. A look into the case revealed Donnay had been out with friends in Detroit and stopped at Hollywood Coney Island to grab a bite to eat. At some point, an argument developed between two men and a woman in close proximity to Donnay and her friends. Donnay attempted to intervene in the altercation, but ultimately decided to walk away. She was followed outside by one of the men who shot her as she stood outside of her vehicle. She passed away just a short time later.
Now, I want you to understand, this woman tried to do the right thing. The thing that they said men should do if we see two people in an argument. We don't know their history. We don't know if that's a toxic relationship, meaning that's what they always do and they get back together. This woman, who is the weaker vessel, a woman is weaker than a man anyway. You shouldn't do this anyway. But anyway, she did it. She chose to intervene. And not only was that man angry at the woman that was his girlfriend, he became more angry at her, followed her outside and ended her life, all because she butted into someone else's business. I know it sounds cold. I know it sounds harsh what I'm saying, but I'm really trying to give you a warning. This is not tearing her down or anyone else who thinks like that, but you need to have wisdom. Okay, you cannot, especially if you are already married, you got your own children, you have no business trying to protect somebody else in that manner when you have your own family that you got to get back to, because your family depends on you to provide and to protect. That's the most important group of people in your life at that time, not a stranger. And it sounds cold, but that's the world that we live in now. You just don't know what you're getting into sometimes no more. Let's get back to it.
But ultimately decided to walk away. She was followed outside by one of the men who shot her as she stood outside of her vehicle. She passed away just a short time later. Donnay's family says they are struggling to come to terms with her murder and the uptick in gun violence. They don't want her to just be remembered as a statistic, but a person, a mother, a friend, an aunt, and a cousin.
Well, we know the family's absolutely devastated, but they have so many questions too in terms of the investigation. Police are still trying to piece a lot of things together themselves, but the family has questions relating to how can something like this happen when their daughter tried to do the right thing.
She led with her heart. She would.
And that's the problem. You leading with your heart. A lot of y'all do these things because you're leading with your heart. You're not leading with wisdom, discernment, and judgment. You should be able to assess a situation. See, a lot of this have been put into us as young men, young women too, that you should aid a stranger. Now, I'm not saying if someone gets in a car wreck, not to render aid to them, but when it comes to, two adult people who are being violent in front of you, that violence that's in their hearts is not gonna be snuffed out because of your involvement. If anything, they're gonna wanna swing on you because they already are just really emotional. Or they might stick you, cut you, shoot you, all kinds of things. You don't know the history. You don't know if you're interrupting a person who went to prison for murder, got out, did 25 years or more. You don't know any of this stuff. You don't know nothing about the person's character. So for you to go in there unarmed, unprotected yourself, and just going in there thinking that you can coerce a person into stop acting a certain way, risk your life. It will risk your life. Okay?
She led with her heart. She would give you the shirt off of her back. She was always helping people.
LaDonna Kim says that's exactly what her daughter was doing when her life was stolen from her over the Labor Day weekend. Family members say 27-year-old Donnay Wilbert was gunned down at Hollywood Coney Island on Detroit's west side early Sunday morning, not long after she tried to break up a fight.
We had to even tell her, like, you can't pull over in your car when you're by yourself because you see somebody on the road and they need help because it's dangerous out there. But she was kind of like the type of person that would have to, like, try or see for herself.
It started with Donnay and her girlfriends having a fun night out. They went to the Coney Island for a bite to eat when an argument developed between two men and a woman, according to sources.
She just wanted everybody to go home and get home. And I'm very sure in my thoughts of knowing that she wanted to get home. I guess the guy followed her out and she was able to get herself out of the restaurant and she was shot in the parking lot.
Although we couldn't actually touch her when we went to go view her based upon the circumstance, she even had a smile on her face as we had to observe her in her last state.
She was doing the right thing, and that's what angers me.
Detroit activist Pastor...
No, that what angers me. See, emotions is not, and I'm gonna say it like this, emotions are not a match for intelligence and wisdom, okay? You can be emotionally right in your heart, but be wrong, okay? People like this gentleman here, I believe he means well, but that propaganda that he's pushing to jump in and to interfere, he's not telling you that you could lose your life. They don't tell you that you could get harmed. They don't tell you that you may not ever go back home to see your family, or worse, your children will never see mom or dad again. They're not telling you that. You need to get both sides. You don't do it, man. The people who are trained to do so, and a lot of y'all don't like cops, and I understand it, but they are trained for this. There are good cops as well as bad cops, y'all. It ain't all bad cops out there. Some of them are good cops, man. And like, there's people out there that are trained to handle this situation. And if they were to get shot, they have bulletproof vests. They have things that can protect them from harm. What do you have other than your emotions? Today's man has become so feminine in their character that they don't think like men. Masculinity is logical, rational, sensible. That's what masculinity, that's part of the components of masculinity. When you are very emotional, you are displaying yourself as a female, man. A lot of women, and this is not bashing women, but a lot of women make a lot of terrible mistakes based on emotion. This is why a lot of women get pregnant by Pookie, Ray Ray, Nook Nook, and all the rest of them, because they was emotionally attached. Didn't even care if they got pregnant, as long as they had that man. Men, you have to be better than this.
The right thing, and that's what angers me.
Detroit activist Pastor Mo works with many community groups teaching de-escalation techniques to quash beefs before they ever can turn violent. He offered this advice for safe conflict resolution.
Make sure you're in a lighted area. Read body language. Look and see if they're reaching. Look and see if there's anything poking out their waist. Look at their type of demeanor. If this is the kind of person that they would have a weapon. If this is a working class person who maybe got on work clothes, you might can reason with them. There's somebody with a hoodie on. I'm not trying to judge anybody, but this is somebody who looks like they could be dangerous, menacing, or just...
Okay, we got to get to that point too. Y'all got to stop being cowardly. It is okay to judge people. I'm so sick of time. All right, y'all say God said don't judge people. He's talking about in a spiritual sense, because only he can put you in hell. Only he can put you in heaven. You have the ability to judge in that way. But he also said you'll know them by the fruit they bear. You have the ability to judge people. How can you know what is good and what is bad if you do not judge? And so I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes stereotypes are not stereotypes. Sometimes it's the truth. Sometimes stereotypes are truthful. You can judge people's behavior. If a person steals an apple, there's nothing wrong with calling him an apple thief. Y'all got to get out of that. The reason why people say that, because they don't want to offend everybody. This is one of the weakest generations I think probably ever walked the planet. People get offended every day. Offenses are a part of life. It's what you do and how you react to an offense that makes you an adult or a mature adult. That what matters.
The hoodie on. I'm not trying to judge anybody, but this is somebody who looks like they could be dangerous, menacing, or just don't care. Be careful how you approach somebody who could be having a mental breakdown.
Meantime, Donnay's family is determined to make sure her legacy lives on.
I just want whoever did this to know they took away such a bright light that shined on so many different people. Everybody that she ever talked to will remember her because of just her great shine. Just her personality was amazing, and she was amazing. She was always dancing and always smiling. She was such a great person. And if the person that did this to her would have known her for about 10 minutes, he wouldn't have never harmed her.
Her family devastated, telling us the young mother had plans to get engaged, plans to start a new job, a whole life ahead of her.
A whole life ahead of you, a child that is left behind, a future, a promising future. She wasn't like a thought that was out there doing nothing. She was working. She was a productive citizen. Lost it all because she thought, or she was taught. That might be the best way. She was taught, because people teach this to people. She was taught to go jump in somebody else's business, to people who you don't know. It could be people you don't know or people you do know. You need to stay the hell out of people's business, man. Especially if you have stuff to lose, like a family.
So at peace with knowing that even within this tragic situation, that my daughter still went out peacefully, because when we identified and viewed her body, my daughter still had a smile on her face.
I want y'all to see and hear the pain of the loved ones that you could possibly leave behind because you decide to go interfere with other people's business. Now, I sound a little harsh, but I'm telling this out of love, man, because you got to be aware of the possibility that you could lose your life or get harmed in such a way that you may never walk again, in such a way that you may have to wear a colostomy bag for the rest of your life, all because you tried to come to the aid of a stranger in this particular type of situation. Like I said earlier, I'm not talking about aiding someone who's been in an accident, who's hurt, who come out of a burning house, they need assistance with their burns. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about when you have two adults, I ain't gonna say mature, I don't know what they got going on, two adults who have the capability of hurting one another. You don't do that. You call other people to do that for you. And when you do these type of things and try to interfere, sometimes the person that you're trying to rescue will turn on you. Get your hands off my man. Even though that man is putting hands all across her head in the public place or talking crazy to him, and you try to jump in, and you might be getting the best of him, whooping him, get off my man. And she pick up something and hit you in the back of your head. These stories are factual. This happens. So I just wanted you to, I want you to hear the pain in her voice before I end this.
Identified and viewed her body, my daughter still had a smile on her face.
Now think about that. What the heck was that? Give me right quick, y'all. One second. Gotta get that there. There you go. Yeah. Well, like I said, think before you jump. I think someone once said that fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And you are a fool when you jump into a situation when you don't know the entirety of what's going on, man. You might not like what I say, but you can't deny that what I'm saying is real. Anyway, till next time, I see y'all pretty soon. You know how I get down. I'll let you later.